Hello everyone, I am back after having been out for a little while, so I'm going to pick up with Wilhelmina Lee Koss. I haven't even really started her research notes, very briefly. I am finished with her husband, George Simmons, so what I'm going to show you in this episode is how to use the research notes for George to quickly start hers, and then we can discover what we still need to do. So let's jump in. So what we're going to do is we're going to open up her research notes, and as you can see here, there's hardly anything here. I had copied, actually just typed one thing, I think, and copied the source citation probably from George Edgar Simmons research notes, and I have updated those. And so what we're going to do, this is going to be kind of tricky to see if I can pull this off on the screen here, but we'll see if we can do this. All right, so what I've done is I have Wilhelmina Lee Koss. This is the wife of George Edgar Simmons. Let me show you real quick. So here's George, here's Wilhelmina. She also went by, I think it was Minnie. Okay, so again, check mark means this is for me. I put this in the suffix. This is just so at a glance, at looking at my tree, I know what I have been doing. For those who have been following along, you know this already, but I've been going through and refreshing all of my research notes. And for those direct line ancestors that I haven't done any research notes for at all, they have the little yellow box. So I may have some brief notes, but they're not to my standards. So all of the little blue boxes mean that they are a work in progress. And so you can see I've been kind of just going down the list and going back down the list, or if I get inspired or find something or somebody emails me, you know how it is. You kind of run down different rabbit holes. Well, today this is my focus. So here is Wilhelmina Lee Koss, and what I have gathered over the years without research notes, just kind of pulling stuff in as I trip across it. And so we're going to clean this up and we're going to start adding stuff to the research notes. But the easy thing to do right now is to go through his research notes and just copy anything that relates. So as I'm going down here, let me back up 1 second. Let me show you something. So on George Edgar Simmons, he was married twice. So Wilhelmina died in 1910, just a year after the birth of her child. He marries again a lady named Alice. So 2 marriages. We're just focused on her because she's my direct line ancestor. All right, just wanted to make that clear. Okay, so over on his research notes, we have this marriage record, the 15th of June, 1908 marriage record for George Edgar Simmons and Minnie L. Koss in Jefferson County, Ohio. All right, so I know this to be my right guy, so I'm going to Control C. This is the right record. And I'm just going to, now I've got a couple records in here I'm making reference to, but I'm going to end up pushing those to the bottom. All right, so now if you'll notice, this is Wilhelmina's research notes. If you'll notice that the source citation carried with it number 2 down here. This is the source citation that I just copied from this record over here, which was number 4 on this one, which on this record was this one down here. Okay, so this makes it easy to start, especially I usually start with the men and then work my way to the women. Why is that? Because usually, depending on the time period, there are more records for men than there are for women. This is what makes researching women so challenging sometimes. All right, so we've got the marriage record. Now here is a reference to their daughter being born. So I'm going to copy that as well. And I'm going, so this crosses over 2 pages. I'm going to copy that and paste it in here because that's important. So here, we're going to paste that in. And one of the reasons why I do this is because anytime a person is mentioned in a record, you want to include them in the research notes. So even though this is a birth certificate for Helen, their daughter, she's mentioned. That's evidence. Let's add it to the research notes. So, okay, so moving on through his notes here, right? I copied all the way down to this one here. 1910, he's living next door with his father. His father's living next door, and wife Minnie. Okay, so she's still alive here. And I'm going to make a note. I'm going to pull all of this in. Copy this. 1910. See how easy this is? Insert that there. Okay. Then he marries Alice. So there's no mention in his research notes of her death. So it probably would be wise for me to insert that, because we need to that's part of his story as well, I guess is my point. So it may be that I come back to this and add her death information to his research notes. All right, so we're done with that for now. I'm going to minimize, well, save early, save often, right? So we're going to Control S to save that. Or we could have gone to File and hit Save there, right? Okay, so now, I'm sorry you're looking at a blank screen. Sorry about that. Okay, so now what we can do is start going through some of this information. Now, one of the things that we do as researchers is we work backwards, right? But that's kind of hard to do. Like, you can't really start with the records and go from the bottom up. And along the way, I'm going to clean things up. So one of the things I'm going to do just to make it easier for me at the moment is I'm going to turn off family events. So that was under Filter, Family Events. And what that's going to do is it's going to turn off all of these birth of brother and death of sister and all this other stuff. So I'm going to turn that off. And now we have just her. So I've got her also known as. Now I'm going to change this, because this really should be a name fact. See, it's up here as an alternate name. So I don't really need this also known as fact, so I'm just going to remove that. Delete. Bye-bye. Because I already have it here as an alternate name. Now, why do I do that as an alternate name? So if you were going to go add, and I just type the N for name, and you can pop down there. And you can add, you know, Minnie, right? And hit add. And now it's added another alternate name here. Now, I clearly don't need that, so I'm going to delete it. But I'm just saying. So that's how you can add that alternate name. Now, what if you're not seeing that? Well, you probably don't have alternate facts turned on. So if we turn that off, you're going to see only the name that you see up here, and that is the preferred name. If you'll see, it says preferred. Close. So I'm going to turn that back on. Alternate facts. Now, what if we wanted this to be the preferred name? We could open that up after you have already saved it. Click preferred, and then once you do that, if I click that as preferred and hit save and then close, you'll see that that is now the primary name, and the other one is the alternate. I'm going to change that back. Edit, make preferred, hit save and close, and now we're back to Wilhelmina Lee Koss. I'm going to star her. This is something new that Ancestry has done, where we can prioritize people, and that is showing up in the tree tags. And so that's kind of fun. So if you want to edit your tree tags, in fact, I'm going to do that right now because I'm actively researching her now. And my custom tree tags, I'm going to say left off here. That is one I created. And so if you want to create your own tree tags, you can do that here somewhere. So you click that Create Custom Tree Tag, and you can do that there. Okay, enough of that. So we've got lots of tags up here. We've got this one as prioritized. We could click that and it would turn that off, and I'm going to turn it back on because I'm actively researching her. So right now she's a priority person for me. Okay, and you can have up to 10, I think, priority people. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here and see how this is a yellow box. I am now in process. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to steal one from somebody else because I'm too lazy to go find my document where I created these. So I'm in William McFarland's thing. This is in the suffix field. I'm going to Control-C to copy. I'm going to close that out. I'm going to go back to her and I'm going to paste it right there and hit save. And now when I go back to my tree, you'll see that blue circle going on. Let me go over here and go back to the tree and you'll see what I'm talking about. So now you can see that this is in progress instead of it being a yellow box, because we're working on it. Even though this, if I refresh this page, it probably would fix that up at the top. It did. Okay. All right. So we kind of, I mean, her life was rather short. She died when she was just, what, 24 years old. Oh my gosh. I don't know if it had anything to do with childbirth or not. Her daughter was born about 13 months earlier. So this girl here basically grew up without a mother. All right, so there are some hints to chase, but what I want to do first is, this is another family tree. I'm going to ignore that. I ignore most family trees because I don't want the bias. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start working through these. And first, let me see if there's something. See, now, this isn't drawing to anything. This has several sources. So I'm going to get rid of this one. So I'm going to edit, delete. I don't like having a messy profile. So usually what I do, 15th of June, 1908, 15th of June, 1908, Jefferson County, Jefferson County. I don't need this one either, because this is an actual document. We got a family tree. And so this is a document. This is not sourcing anything, so goodbye. Okay. It was the same spouse anyway. All right, we have one death. That's good. 1910, that's probably a city directory. No, it's federal census. Okay. This is a city directory. That's good. By the way, city directories, you should always look for all of that you can. All of them. If you go, oh, I've already got like 5 city directories, look for them all. Because what happens is, usually city directories were done about every 2 years, and you can trace somebody's life through city directories. Plus, there have been times when I have seen a city directory on the last time a person was in that town, and it will say, I don't have one, I don't see one offhand here, but it will say, move to Chicago, or, something along those lines. Plus, you can see that there are information beyond just a name, right? It's got, sometimes, look, widow of John, Mrs. Jane Cohen, widow of John. So this helps you. Look, iron worker. It's giving you occupation. So there's good stuff in city directories. You always want to be looking at city directories. Okay, and we haven't even started really researching. This is just stuff that I have come across. So let's go look at this 1900 census. I'm just going to work from top to bottom through the records that we already have. Okay, there's some interesting information. Okay, so Koss, here we go. Reuben Koss, Melinda Koss, and Minnie L. Koss, daughter. This is her. Okay, now let's double check against a couple things. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump over to this one so I can have her profile open in one tab. 25th of June, 1886. June 1886. 13 years old. She's single. Born in West Virginia. Father's birthplace, Pennsylvania, which matches with this father up here, even though, oh yes, we do have relationships in 1900. So, I'm trying to figure out what that says. This looks like March, so I'm going to say this is March. I'm going to say that's an MCH. Okay. It's not relevant right now, but it caught my eye. All right, so I do recognize these names. And how do I know that this is my person? I actually have a book on this family, and it was written around 1950, I think it was. And it's got a lot of these people, including the photographs. And so some of these photographs that you see in the record, like this one. So let's go look at the gallery just for grins and giggles. Wait for it. You can see a lot of photographs. And some of these photographs came from the book. This one here is kind of fuzzy, but oh, that's a better version of the one than the one I saw earlier. So there's always a trick. You can see who originally saved it and reach out to them and go, hey, do you actually have this picture? Are you the one who inherited this? Are you the one that really uploaded this? Can you tell me more? What do you know about this family? So here, backup photo, Minnie Cross Simmons, Ed's first wife, Helen's mother. Look at that information that she put up. Thank you very much, Miss Claire, for doing that. I appreciate that so much when you put that information in. So, yeah, back to the work. So, I am going to jump off for a few minutes, and I am going to start inputting some more information, because I don't think you really need me to sit there and show you every little detail. Because what I do is I go through here and I literally dictate. Right? So I'm in the 1900 census. And it's really kind of hard to do on a split screen, but we'll see if we can do it. Hang on. So I need to take this and shove it over here, and then I need to take this one. Yes, I'm in the right place. All right, so here's 1909. This is the 1900 census, 1908. So we're going to actually insert this at the very top. Actually, this marriage is also from 15 June. I think there are two different marriage records here. 1908, because if you'll notice, one was a family search database and the other one was an ancestry database. So I'm going to leave those for now, and I'm going to jump in here. Oh, you know what I forgot to do? Family search ID, ancestry link. So here we have, I forgot to do this. You know, these are brand new research notes, so I really haven't had a chance to do this. So let me do this real quick before I forget. Let me go back. We can always come back here. So I'm going to grab her hyperlink, Control C to copy. And I'm going to right click, link, paste, go. Now, anytime I come back here, I can hyperlink right to her page. And then I'm going to jump over to Family Search for a second. I have to log in to do that, so I'll be right back. See, didn't take long. Family tree. Let's go look at the family tree for a second. All right, Wilhelmina Lee Koss is right here, so we're going to go to her person. And anytime on Family Search, anytime you hover over her ID, it gives you an opportunity to copy it. ID copied. Then I come over here and I go family search ID. Actually, I should put the number in there too. So it is L565. That's so tiny I can hardly see it. All right. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to hyperlink that whole thing. Control V. Whoops. I goofed. See, that has the same number at the top. Control C to copy. Come back to the research notes. I'm going to right click. I'm going to remove the hyperlink because I messed that up. I'm going to right click, link, paste, go. All right. And I'm going to start my notes left off with, and I will finish that sentence as soon as I can, as soon as I'm getting ready to quit for the night. Believe it or not, I took a dinner and dishes break, so I am back now. Okay, so here we have the 1900 census for Jefferson County, Steubenville, Ohio. And we have this family right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to demonstrate how I put this into my research notes, and I'll probably call it quits since this is already 20 minutes into this video. Okay, so this is her research notes. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to pull this down, I'm going to drag it over, I'm going to snap it, this is a Windows thing, snap it to the left screen, I'm going to pull this up on the right screen. So everything I do with research notes starts with the date. And so in order to figure out the date, we actually need to go to the top of this page. Enumerated by me on the 5th day of June, 1900. So that's what we're going to write. 5 June. And by the way, most of the time we abbreviate everything to 3 letters. 1900. I see here I did not do that, so I will fix that. I know this sounds weird that I'm fixing this, but I like consistency. That's just me. Okay, so, whoops, Jefferson County, Connie, type, Ohio, 1900, US Census. See, I bet you make typing mistakes like that too. Now, Control-Shift-B to turn off the bold is the short code for this. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the dictate tool, and I'm going to dictate, oh, let's do this first. Hang on. Mingo Junction, which is kind of important. This is the location in which they lived. Steubenville. Mingo, there's a lot of locations here. It was a township at this time. Jefferson County, Ohio. All right, Mingo Junction is apparently an area. I'm not familiar with it. Not been there yet myself. All right. Now, this information about the house number and family number is going to end up in the source citation, so I will not dictate that. I know you're going to ask me what this means, and I don't know offhand. I believe these numbers are where the enumerator is counting, but I don't know that for sure. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read what's underneath that. And now with dictation and names, a lot of times dictation just doesn't understand like costs. It's probably going to spell cause as in C-A-U-S-E. So I'm not even going to bother to dictate that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to say mini. Whoops, I thought I had turned off bold. Control-Shift-B. Mini L is in the household of her father, Reuben. I believe that is how it is spelled here. Costs. I'm going to come back over here and I'm going to add costs here. All right. let's back up. And mother. Let's say assumed mother. Why is that? Because it doesn't say the relationship to Minnie. It says the relationship to the head of the household, which is the wife. Doesn't mean for sure. Right? So, okay. So assumed mother. Melinda. Okay. Now here's where I'm going to start dictating. Almost. Reuben Koss. All right. Is the head of household. Oh, as soon as I clicked on this other side, it went away. Hang on. Is household. He is white, male. Birth month is February. Birth year is 1855. He is 45 years old. He's married for 23 years. See if that's right. Melinda Reuben Koss, head of, this didn't quite make it, head of household. He is white, comma, male. Birth month is February. You would think it would have corrected that. Birth month is February, comma, birth year is 1855. You know, it takes correction, but it's better than typing it all. He is 45 years old, comma, he is married for 23 years. These are not complete sentences. These are abstracts. So don't beat me up in the comments about about it not being spelled right. So he's married for 23 years. So what this means is, in this particular scenario is, right, they're both married for 23 years. Here, under Melinda, this is the wife, right? And we'll talk about this. I mean, I'll add this information. But she's had 12 children, 11 living. So one did not survive. Don't know who that is. Just saying. All right. So we're going to finish with him. Reuben was born in Pennsylvania. His father was born in Pennsylvania as well as his mother. I think I have auto correction turned off, or auto, what do you call it? Punctuation, probably in settings under the file. I'm not going to mess with it right now. Just saying. There, you can actually turn it on. Sometimes I'll turn it off. I think I turned it off when I was dictating a will, because boy, or I think I was transcribing a will. Yeah, okay, so I went and looked. So if you go to File, well, I can't do it now because I'm in this menu. Go to File, and then all the way down at the bottom down here it says Options, and then you go to Proofing, and this is where all the autocorrection options are turned on, and you can show autocorrect option buttons. Ooh. Let's do that. But you can also say ignore uppercase, ignore words that contain numbers, ignore, because it can get really kind of crazy. And so I had turned a lot of this stuff off the other day. Check spelling as you type. Let's do that. Mark grammar errors as you type. Let's do that. I think that's it for now. Ignore words that contain numbers. Yeah, I think we're going to hide spelling errors in this document only. I'll turn this off sometimes when I'm trying to demonstrate something to you in a video, because those little red squiggly lines that you'll see like this is distracting. See how it's turning that on? It's distracting, and I don't like doing that. So now it's starting to give me some correction, so all I have to do is right click to fix these things, and then it kind of helps me keep things clean. Okay, now that was manually costing the father household. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to space this out. So why am I doing that? Because if I go and I'm working through onto another ancestor, I can copy and paste this whole thing. Say I'm working on Ruben Koss's research notes. I can then go and copy this whole thing. I'm not done yet, but I can copy this whole thing, paste it into his research notes, and then just go and change this first sentence. Because it's not about Minnie anymore, it's about Ruben. In fact, I don't even really need that thing. But what this does is 1900 census alone gives us evidence that Ruben is her father. So that's good. So now let's go back. I don't know why this keeps doing that. Snap over there. There we go. So now I'm going to finish dictating this. Ruben is a laborer at the steel works. 1 month not employed, comma, can read, comma, can write, comma, can speak English, comma, rents his home, and it is a house. And I didn't really say that very clearly. I paused. Oh, see, I didn't turn this off. Oh, that's so funny. Okay. Let's back up. He rents his home. Let's just say house. All right, so even though I dictated the commas, it pops in there, right? Are you still laughing about what I was just doing? I didn't turn my microphone off and it just kept going. It happens. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause and I'm going to finish filling out all this information. Now, why do we do this? It's because it pays attention. It helps us to pay attention to the details as I stutter my way through here. The fact that he's renting his home tells me there's no land records to go find. That's a tip, right? So don't waste your time looking for deeds because he doesn't own his home. He's renting right now. And so I'm going to start putting in all the rest of this. So I added the Melinda, his wife, paragraph. And now that I've turned on those auto corrections, it's working much smoother. I barely had to fix anything. And so now I'm going to do Minnie with you here on the microphone. We'll see how it goes. Hopefully I don't mess this up. Minnie, L, comma, daughter, comma, white, comma, female, born June 1886, comma, she is 13 years old and single. See how quickly that fixed everything? This should not have been capitalized, but that's okay. It's so much faster just to fix a few things. She was born in Pennsylvania. Her father was born in Pennsylvania, and her mother was born in West Virginia. She is at... So what happened was, just as soon as I clicked over here, it went away from over here, and I lost my beautiful auto correction. So now I'm running back and forth fixing all this. All right, so you're getting the idea. I'm going to finish this up, and I'll be right back. Okay, I'm down to William F. down here. Okay, this is all 1900 census. Here is William F. One of the things I want to note, this is why we do this, is because he is not at school. He's 9 years old, and he is not in school, and there's no notation about him being able to read, write, or speak English at 9 years old. Just saying. As I dictate this in here, I want to put a note here, right? Note. As I'm dictating, if I turn off the dictation too fast, it doesn't complete the corrections that it's doing. If I wait and just quietly wait for a second, it will go and fix all of the things about the sentence before it quits. But if I hit this stop button too fast. Doesn't get it right, and then I have to go and correct it. Just letting you know. Another little tip about dictation. All right, we're going to pick up with Bessie. Bessie D, daughter, white, female, born July 1894. She's 5 years old and single. Now I turn it off. See, it fixed a lot of the, auto-corrected a lot of this stuff, so I don't have to do that that often. All right, I'm going to pause and finish this. Now, why do I do this, you ask, as I'm continuing to build out more? Good question. I'm glad you asked. So the deal is, especially when it comes to the birthplace, the father's birthplace and the mother's birthplace, as I'm continuing to work on this, and a lot of times you go, okay, yeah, Pennsylvania, okay, great. Mother was born in the same place, yeah. Well, what if one of them was not born, here I'm getting ready to do Oscar, was not born in the same place as all the siblings? That might be a clue that that child was born under a different marriage, or that this family moved, right? So if all the kids are born in Pennsylvania, but the first child, Minnie, is born in West Virginia, this is a clue that they moved between 1886 and 1888, because she's born in West Virginia and he is born in Pennsylvania, the next child. If they are all part of the same mother, then the whole family probably moved from West Virginia to Pennsylvania. So this is one of the reasons why we pay such close attention to the details in every census record. Okay, I have added Oscar, and I'm now working my way down to this border. I do put these people in because you never know who they are at this time. You might discover later that they're cousins, or they're just, another person, trying to find room and board. You never know. So I will put him in, and one of the tricks is, if you can't read what that says exactly, LANAGHA, I think that says NS, but that's the way I read it. I will cheat, and I will come down here and say, what did the transcriber think it was? And I will put it in how I see it typically, but it looks like they're not putting an S on the end like I'm thinking it might be. This is not a big deal, but I'm going to put him into the research notes. I'll be right back. So I went ahead and put it in as not having an S, as the transcriber had written. Well, I thought this was interesting. So this guy is 18 years old. He is born in Pennsylvania as well as both of his parents, but this is Jefferson, Ohio. So he is probably coming to look for work because he was unemployed for 5 months. He cannot read or write, but he does speak English. I just find this stuff fascinating. Okay, so now, save early, save often, Control S to save. And we now have the 1900 census in its entirety in the research notes. Now we're going to jump over and create a source citation for this real quick and call it a day. So what I've done here is I've set up Site Builder, CITE, sitebuilder.com, on one screen, and I've got the source 1900 census on the other. So what I'm going to do, I have the premium version. Basic version will have the US Census. So I'm going to go ahead and jump in here. And I am looking for census records. I'm looking for United States. I'm looking for US Federal Census. I'm sorry if I'm going too fast. And then I am going to the 1900 census right here. Now, here's a couple different options. Here we have US Federal Census Schedule Microfilm. This is if you're sitting in front of a microfilm reader. Here it is with the Schedule Online. Here it is again with the Schedule Online. I'm not sure what the difference is. Oh, this is the Indian schedule. Sorry. This is the population schedule. This is what we want. Okay. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take a look over here. So we're in Ohio, so we're going to say Ohio. I love this website. Jenny and I think it's Andy. If you're watching, kudos to you for building this website because it's fabulous. Jefferson County. Whoops, I typoed. Jefferson County. This is Steubenville. Enumeration District. Not sure why we have the dash line. It says fields highlighted with dash borders are optional for this style. Okay. The ED is over here. This is Enumeration District number 76. And if you can't read the handwriting, you're going, is that 16 or 76? You can always pop over here and see what Ancestry says it is. And it will tell you it is 76. So there it is, 76. Enumeration District 76. Page 8. And if you're confused between sheet numbers and page numbers, it again is right there. Okay. Person of interest. In my case, this is mini costs. In fact, I'm going to put mini L costs. And roll number is over here, 1290. Because you're not going to find that on the top of the census sheet. It is Ancestry. And the URL, so this is the part that people always get confused by. What you can do is come up here and copy up to that part, Control C. So then you can paste it in. You always want the HTTPS because it's a secure website, / www.ancestry.com. Okay? And then I love this button today. Okay? And then if you want, like if you're doing a lot of family member in this same location, you can save this as a template. Like you could like maybe remove the names. But right now what I'm going to do is I'm going to build a citation. And I'm going to use the evidence explained version. That's what we use in genealogy. If I hit this button, it will copy it to my clipboard. Bada bing. Then I come back over to my research notes. Please stand by while I get my research notes. And I'm going to put my cursor at the bottom of the last portion that I'm citing. So if I was writing a narrative and I had 5 different sources here, you'd put it at the end of each paragraph for which you were sourcing. So here I'm going to references, insert footnote, Control V to paste, and back up one because there's always an extra space in there for some reason. I like to double check to make sure that these are at 10. This is pretty typical to use 10 font size, and we're done. Control save to save the document, and we've gotten our first really big one in here. Now, I don't always go to this level of detail, but one of the reasons why I like to have all of these people in here is because this is tying our ancestors together. So as if I find one of these people in a different record and I'm trying to tie them together, I can now say, all right, I've got all of these folks, plus I've done it once. I don't really need to bold him. I've got it once, and all I have to do, this is specific to Minnie, but all I have to do is copy and paste this whole thing into research notes for anybody else I want to. I would not necessarily do research notes about the siblings, Raymond, William, unless it's going to help me solve a problem. Bessie appears a lot in a lot of other records I've seen, so I might end up doing research notes on her, which is Minnie's sister, because it ties the two together. And so Melinda is, to the best of my knowledge, her mother, and then Reuben, of course, is her father, as it says so in the 1900 census. So with that, we're going to take a break, and we'll pick up next time somewhere along the research trail, and hopefully that gave you some tips on how to do this.